Hey everyone, it's Tej again, and today we're going to be making one of my favorite recipes, pho. Believe it or not, the first time I had pho was from a baby bottle when I was 2 years old. So, here's my secret recipe. The first thing you'll need is a stock pot, and into it is some beef bones. I'll be using leg. For some really rich flavor, I recommend using some oxtail and some tripe to top it off. But if either of those two freak you out, just the bones is fine. Now fill your bone and deliciousness filled pot up with water and crank your stove up to 11 and slam that puppy on top. While that's heating up, grab an onion, your finest handful of ginger, 2 sticks of cinnamon, 4 to 5 star anise, and no, I won't say it the right way. Now take your pearly white onion and slice in half, then in quarters, then slice your ginger into about 1/2 inch thick pieces. No need to be perfect here. You're just looking to increase the surface area. Now take all of these chunks of deliciousness and put them onto a baking sheet. We're going to be broiling these so that we can bring out a roasted flavor of ginger and onion. So click the broil button on your oven or turn it up just to 450 degrees and slap those bad boys into the oven. Once your pot of bone broth is boiling, we're going to bring this over to the sink and strain. We're doing this to remove the excess blood from the broth that'll help us create a clearer soup. So rinse these off with water, then use your hands to scrub clean. Put them all back in the pot and then fill that up with water once more. Now back under the stove we go to bring it up to a boil. By now these should be done. Now heat up a cinnamon stick and star anise on a frying pan, as well as some cloves that are completely optional. I also add a cardamon pod, and with the power of an off-screen cleaver, I crush this by hand and throw into the frying pan. You can also sprinkle some coriander seeds if you have any lying around. And then keep mixing those around until you can smell each and every one of those spices. Add them into a spice bag or a tea strainer. And while doing that, realize that you can't actually grab the small ones because it's going to be too hot, and just pour them into a cup. And then from the cup, into your spice bag. Wrap those up nice and tight so they don't go floating around in the kid pool, and head on back over to your delicious bone bath. We're going to go ahead and lower that heat, yeet in some spices, yeet in some onion and ginger, grab every little piece and put it into the soup. Now for the secret ingredient, fish sauce. Go ahead and dump in about 1 cup of fish sauce. I highly recommend using yellow rock sugar. White sugar works too. About 2 to 3 clumps worth, or 2 tablespoons. And now the most important part is actually to taste it here. This shouldn't taste too far from pho. It should be both sweet and salty, but lack the richness as it still needs to boil the bones. But if something feels off, add sugar or more fish sauce to balance the taste. Now anywhere between 4 to 8 hours later, let's remove the big pieces and put them in the trash. The longer you boil this, the better, to be honest. And then from there, we're gonna strain out our soup from all the big pieces of bone, ginger, onion, spices, and all the stuff you don't want floating around in soup. Now separate scrap from soup, and you can go ahead and toss all of that leftovers out. We've extracted all that we need. Your oxtail at this point should be so tender it should be easy with a pair of chopsticks or a fork to separate bone from meat. And your tripe should just need a little bit of cutting up, but it should be ready to go. Bring your broth back up to a boil and get some diced onions. Slice up some limes because vitamin C is delicious. Then get even more vitamin C by chopping up a jalapeno, or don't if you're chicken. Chop up cilantro or dish soap for some of you, as well as a green onion thinly sliced and diced. Keep that green part thick. I also bought some rare thinly sliced brisket from the store alongside our oxtail, tripe, cilantro, green onions, lime, jalapeno, and onions. Get some store-bought rice noodles because the stuff that you make at home is not worth the time. Toss into boiling water for 30 seconds and then out. And slap those into your bowl with your cilantro, onions, green onions, rare brisket, more because that's never enough, then lime and the rest of the meat. Now ladle boiling broth on top of the rare brisket, and there you go, delicious pho, along with some spring rolls and cafe soda that I made. Slam like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.